Hi, Lina. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking the time today. So I just wanted to ask you a few questions and for you to share your experience about the photo shoot that we did together. So in order to start, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
I'm an attorney. I do employment law, and I do employment law because I have a proclivity for working people, for employees, and I want to give them great representation that they would otherwise not get um, because it's hard to find great employment attorneys that just concentrate on employee matters.
That's interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got into that space? I mean, you seem a little bit different from most employment lawyers I've seen or worked with.
How I get into the space? I worked for an employment lawyer before I went to law school, and I thought it was interesting. Compared to other areas of law, it was just the one that seemed most interesting to me, and the ones that the one that was also most underrepresented by minorities. There are a lot of minorities doing what I do.
Right, and that's important to you. Yeah.
Okay. Very important to me, yeah.
Cool. All right, so what made you decide to do this this photo shoot, and why is that important for your business or work?
Because I've gotten a lot of photo zone. I've hired people to take my photos, and it's never to my liking, really. It's just never quite what I want. And a friend of mine showed me her photos, and I thought they were great. And she said, "Oh, it's this guy, you." And she said, "Oh, he's having this webinar about branding and all stuff." And so I went to your webinar, and I thought, wow, that's a really nice approach to getting your subject in a certain way that no photographer has done to me personally, but it's also an interesting way to capture somebody, and I feel like for professionals, it's not a lot of people want their photos taken. They just want the one photo that they use over and over. And that was me, because I was like, I don't really need it. But the more you grow, the more you realize, wow, I really need people to see me. And how do you do that? Well, you do it a couple of ways, right? You have lots of videos, which I do. So if you Google me, you're probably going to find lots of videos of my YouTube and whatever, but that's what they see, right? But photos are a different medium, right? You can use them in so many different ways, and you can use them, if you're doing social media, which you should be as a business owner, you really definitely need good photos for your social media. But I would go a little bit beyond that, and I would say not only do you need good photos, but you need good photos that you're happy with, that you feel like that you feel represents you and your brand, right? And so I think ultimately the journey to learn about what your brand is visually, what it is you like, to discover sort of your aesthetic sensibilities for yourself is an important step, which I think is a missing step in most photographers. I just had my photos done about a month ago, and I can show them to you. It's like night and day. It's like me in an office, whatever, and it's like that's not really who I am. It's what the photographer thinks you should be, but not what I think I should be, right? So a photographer can be like, well, this is what, wear this, wear that, and show up and take your photo, right? But again, I'm not really happy, and this photographer who I did not hire, it was another person's shoot, just wanted something that really was never going to capture me, like me in this environment. So it just seems a little bit sterile, but sometimes you have to do that, and sometimes you have to play the part and you have to sit in an office, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the process could be different, and I think the process could be a lot more enjoyable. And ultimately, I think you could enjoy seeing yourself in photos. I'm not a person that enjoys seeing myself in photos very much either. It's just not something that I've ever enjoyed. I'm not this vain person. In fact, I barely look at myself in the mirror, as you could tell. I don't look at myself in the mirror. My hair, I don't do makeup. I don't do hair. I just want to get up and go. And so, to be able to see, to be able to have something that I think it's me and really represents how I really feel and what my inner self is like, I guess, so to speak, that you can't see in photos. You could definitely show that in photos. You could definitely show it in photos. You could definitely show it with the mood. You could definitely show it with the way you dress, right? You could definitely show it with, you could all of those elements could be encompassed into one photograph.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was great. It was great to talk to Trish, to the person who introduced me to you, because her and I went through sort of like, because I asked her specifically, like, oh, what were you doing in this photo? And like, what were you doing? What was happening in this photo? And so to reflect emotions in the photo it's kind of a cool thing,
Yeah. And I was really surprised when you reached out, because that's normally, as you've probably gotten, like, I don't associate lawyers with having that need. Usually I think of lawyers as like people who just want that standard headshot and stuff. So I was very pleasantly surprised you reached out and you actually said that you wanted these emotional photos. Is this something that you're seeing in the legal profession more? Like, people are like trying to be a little more authentic about themselves?
I mean, yes, I would say that. I wouldn't say just the legal profession. I would say everybody's starting to look at themselves more on video, and everyone's starting to see a need to be put out there, right? I never, up until maybe 6 years ago, I didn't really have a lot of stuff about me on the internet like that. Like, I just had maybe like my Facebook or my, like a picture here, a picture there. And I feel like again, I'm talking about for myself. I have a business and I have a brand and I have a marketing strategy and stuff like that. So for lawyers, maybe who are like who are in a law firm, for my friends who are in law firms, they have no need, other than like, oh, I'm getting married. I need to get great pictures of myself getting married, right?
Yeah.
Or I have this birthday party and I want to have whatever. But I'm talking about specifically for business owners, people who are in any career who are business owners. There's starting to be more of a need for portraying yourself out there with your products, with your message, with your with your accomplishments, and with tooting your own horn in your own photos. And so I think with that comes in me too, oh, you know what, a lot of these people, everyone's like seeing my picture. I went to my web guy sends me my statistics, and now I was like, 2,800 people clicked on this, and I'm like, that means 2,800 people are looking at your photo.
Yeah.
And people are judging you, right? People are like, oh, this person is, I judge people all the time based on the photos.
Yeah.
I judge everything about them, whether I'm like talking about it to myself or not. I'm like, oh, this person, like, what kind of suit is this person wearing? Like, I'm very much like a suit person. So I'm like, oh, I love that suit, or like, I love the shoes, or, where are they? Like, this space is really,
right.
Like, where is this person? So I look at stuff like that. I don't know if everyone is like me. I know that people should judge and do judge, but I don't know if people are so attentive to this kind of, to this thing. Obviously, don't judge a book by its cover, right? But when it comes down to stuff like that, I have a coach. I have a business coach. His name is Sam, and Sam was talking the other day about, he was showing like what to do, what not to do when you do your lawyer advertising, right? And he was talking and he was like, please don't be this lawyer. And it's like these lawyers that like have this photo shot of themselves like
Yeah.
with like their entire like team in the back. And he's like, please don't do that at all. Like
Right.
you need to be able to show people that you're fun, that you're a person. You need to be able to show people your vulnerability, you know, and talk about yourself. And, you know, because people like to do business with people, not with companies.
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
given, right? So the more people know you. And so to bring it back to the photographs, I think photographs are just another way to that you're putting yourself out there, and you don't have to, you know, I'm not one to take selfies. I don't really like to like put myself out there all the time. I want to put myself out there in a professional way, but a way that represents me and that I'm proud of. And like, oh, look, I'm wearing the suit that I really like. I'm wearing this, you know, I have this expression that I recognize myself in this expression type thing.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk a little bit about the process leading up to the shoot. So as part of the process, you did a mood board, created a mood board, and then we had a planning session that went, you know, over the mood board. What did that process feel like for you? How was it?
It felt burdensome.
Okay. All right.
It felt like I didn't want to do it. And then I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It felt like, you know, like this is just one step that, but you know, it's just because I find the process of, I find Pinterest to be like annoying. I didn't even have a Pinterest account, you know, it's just not my thing. It's not something I don't want to be. It felt like a waste of time. And then it didn't. And then there came a time where it's like, oh, this is not a waste of time, you know?
Yeah. Well, talk to me more about that. What changed as you're going through, what changed it from being a waste of time to like not being like, what came out of it for you?
I found photos that I really liked. And my wife joined me in searching for things. And so we were doing it together. But no, I really wasn't too familiar with Pinterest. I think I saw things that I liked. I found people that I liked. You know, I found Rachel Maddow. I found interesting images that I wanted to explore more. Is how I would say, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it was one of the most unique mood boards I've seen. Like, it's so different from what most clients do, because I guess you focused on so many of the very dapper kind of women who wear suits, and you know, people like Rachel Maddow and so on. So it was very clear to me how your aesthetic was going to be very different from everyone else. Like the poses, the just the back, everything you were looking for was going to be different. So I think for me it was very valuable. But it's good to hear.
Have you shot a lesbian before? A lot of lesbians?
No, I have not. And so yeah.
If you shot another one, I'm telling you, they would go for the same stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are like the same stuff, you know.
Yeah, so I guess you were, I guess, my first in that realm. So yes, but it was very unique and interesting to see that. So anyway, also, so then we did the mood board, we did the planning session. Did that help you kind of clarify your vision for the shoot?
Did it help me? The mood board? No, not really. I mean, it helped me that I decided what I didn't want. Well, actually, no, it did. I decided that I wanted some color. I decided that I liked seeing color in these photographs. Yeah, it did help me. It helped me pick what I wanted, what I was going to decide to wear, I guess. I looked at it before I shoot, you know, and I did. I thought about the pictures themselves, and the fact that a lot of these people are professional actors, but a lot of them are not, right? A lot of them are just like like having an expression, you know, and it's an expression, and you have to wonder when you smile for the photograph, it's like you're just doing a cheese thing, like, oh, cheese, and you're like, well, that's just all you're going to ever show, if you have your cheese moment or your whiskey moment or whatever. And a lot of these people are paid models that are told, that can evoke, I guess, those expressions in film. But a lot of them were not. A lot of them were just people with with expressions, with expressions that they have in their everyday lives.
Yeah, cool. So we had some fun picking the location. I know we tried some different ideas, but then you settled on this New York City Bar Association, and you're really passionate about getting that location. So tell me a little bit about that, and why was that location so important to you?
I just always liked it. I always liked the inside. When you and I went, it's empty. It's been empty for a year. No one's gone there. But I've always thought all of the rooms there are just so grand and so just very classy, but not tacky. And they're very unique in that you don't really find spaces like that anymore. It makes you think of what it would have been like to practice law when only white men were practicing law, only white people practicing law. And it's cool to know that, like, I have access to it now, and I certainly get access to it now because there's no one there. So number one was opportunity. Number one is the fact that I really like the place. And I happen to know that you could move they move their furniture. So I thought, it's a good location from a perspective, from a logistics perspective, is very easy. Number two, access, the opportunity to use it. And number three, I've worked in every single one of those rooms for many issues. Like, I've been on boards, I volunteer there. So it's a space where I'm very comfortable in, where I've worked as a lawyer. And it beats my office, Raj. My office, like, look at my office. I mean, look at this.
Office is quite pretty.
Huh?
Office is quite nice, but yeah, that location definitely is special.
Yeah.
And it felt like a little bit like meaningful to me that, like, as you talked about, that at some one point it was only accessible to a certain group of people, specifically white men, and now it's like accessible to you. Definitely meaningful there. So
Yeah,
what is the day?
special.
Yeah, sounded very, that idea of belonging. So what was the day of the shoot like for you, the shoot experience itself? We showed up there, we, started setting up, and then what happened? How did that go for you?
It went well. It went well. I felt it felt good being there, just the two of us. There were no onlookers, which is something that I didn't really want. I felt like we had the space to ourselves, and it just, it felt nice. I had my own, it felt like I had my own dressing room, which is great. Yeah. That would have never happened in any other year, any other time, So I felt good. It felt right. It felt comfortable. It felt right. It felt at ease.
Awesome. So how did you feel like when you saw the photos for the first time, and then now you've had the photos for a week? Like, how's it evolved for you?
I thought the pictures were great. There's a lot of great shots there. I am definitely going to, I thought about what I'm going to use on the website. I honestly, I haven't really looked at them again. Believe it. Oh no, actually I have. I gave one to one of my partners to use in our, here, I'll send it to you later, but I gave one to my partner, and I actually had to pick. I was like, what do you think is going to be good? Because I have this other venture with another person, not non-law related. And I said, which ones do you like? And she said, well, I like all of these, but this is good for real estate or whatever, like whatever we're trying to do. So it's great to have, it was great to go back and say, wow, I could use this for so many things, like I could use this I could have headshots that are not really headshots, you know, that are not really, you know, your typical like lawyer,
Yeah.
the ones that I've had. And you know, I could use them for so many things. I could use them to, you know, I'm gonna send them to my team who does my social media. Just haven't really had the time, but I will.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I have to do. And yeah, no, it felt nice to have things that were shot the same day, that no one's gonna know were shot the same day, you know.
Yeah.
Like a variety of things that I could use them for in different suits that to me are fun and cool, you know. They might not be what the general person thinks of, like, oh, whatever. But some of them are serious and some of them are, you know, and some of them are not, and that's great. And I like that.
Yeah, you're a fun lawyer, so that shows. uh, so did you share some of the photos with other people besides your business partner, like your wife or friends? And what reactions did you get?
I haven't. I sent them to Charlie, and she hasn't gotten a chance to see them. Yeah, I know. I sent them. I've asked her a few times, but she's a busy girl. We're going to go over. We actually haven't been home to Connecticut since for a couple of weeks, and that's where we do like our, you know, when we're in New York, we tend to be like
just kind of like leading your own lives.
Yeah, so we're leaving tonight, and we're leaving tonight, and we're going to be there until Monday, and so she's definitely going to look at them, and you know, we're definitely going to make some decisions as to where I go. As you can tell, you know, I kind of need my wife to give me a little direction.
That's so, you know, we're all in that boat, I guess. But yeah, I would be very excited to hear what she has to say, and also what your business coach has to say, because he seems like he's somebody who encouraged you to get in that direction of getting photos. So yeah, definitely let me know.
I will definitely, you know, I'm sure they like it, but it's, you know, it's like too important a job to just like hand it to somebody. I want to do what you did and go over it together.
Right.
Like, I don't want to just send it to somebody and be like, what do you think about this? You know?
Right.
And I did it with Taina, with one of my business partners. I did do it with her, and I sent it to her, and I said, what do you think about this? And she said, they're great. And then she picked one that was for that particular project, for that, you know, for that particular website. So yeah, no, it's gonna go, it's gonna happen. And, you know, and as soon as, and by the way, like, my website, it's still being built. So I still have to pay, you know, like, we're still in that process of, you know, like copyright and all that stuff. So it's a delicate process, and one that I will take very seriously.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what comes out. Do you have any favorite photos that you like, just like that was my favorite from the shoot?
I do. I really like the ones that you took that had the mirror, like in the library. I really like those, the reflection one. And I like the couple of the white suit in the park. I like there's a headshot that I really like with the brown jacket. I really like that one. There's a bunch. There's definitely a bunch that I really
wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool. So I have to ask, this is the last question, and I have to ask, this is an obligatory like marketing question, I guess. Like, would you recommend this experience to a friend? And if they didn't know anything about me or my work, like, what would you tell them? Why should they work with me?
I would tell them that if they want a different experience for their, you know, for their photographs, if they want, you know, to work with somebody who's very easy, who wants to understand you as a subject, and who cares about ultimately your brand and the mood that all these photographs project, I would tell them to call you for sure. And of course I would recommend you. I feel like, and not only that, but you have a great eye for composition. Like, the photographs were, you know, very well done. And I never felt like I was, you know, like I didn't want to do something that I was doing something that I didn't want to do, you know. And if I did feel uncomfortable, which I don't think I did, but I wouldn't have felt like, I'm not going to tell him, You know, I'm not gonna tell them I'm feeling like I felt very at ease and very comfortable with the decisions, and I thought that your decisions for lighting were great. And you know, just you know, the process of the mood board, I think is important, even though I found it annoying at the beginning. I think it's really important, you know, and I feel like I don't know anyone who's doing this but you, Raj. I feel like it's an important, I feel like it's a missing step in that, for that project, you know. And of course, you know, people need to know what do they want their photographs for, you know, like maybe it's just too hot, people like, you know, people like seeing themselves in photos and they just want to be able to put them in Instagram and whatever. But you know the purpose of my photos. I'm sure you know everybody's purpose for these photos, and I feel like you will work with them for whatever purpose they deem to get the better, you know, to see themselves as they want to see themselves, and you know, in the with the moods and with the emotions that they want their photographs to evoke to, you know, to the world, really, to the world, because these photographs are going to go somewhere. You know, what are you trying to tell the world? What are you trying to tell people about yourself, right? Like, it's a branding exercise, you know, it's a branding exercise, and you need, in life, I think you need somebody who will help you with that. You know, you need copywriters for your website, you need copywriters for your work, you need good photographers, you need good editors, you need good coaches. You know, I feel like it's just a step in one of those many things that you have to do if, you know, if you want to, you know, if you want to have better photographs and better branding, you know. I think it's an important step. And look, to be honest with you, I know a lot of lawyers, you know, unfortunately. I don't really think that people work on themselves as much when they're practicing law. And this could be the same thing for people who are accountants, or, you know, and I can't speak to accountants. Actually, no, I do know a few accountants and social workers, whatever. I don't really think that people are thinking about themselves that way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A lot of people are just thinking about the work that needs to be done. And I feel like it's a form of self-love.
Yeah.
You know, it's a form of like, oh my God, I love myself. And I think I'm great. And I think I look great. You know, and I could look great in photos. Or at the very least, give yourself a chance. If you don't like how you look in photos, why not give yourself a chance to have a photo shoot that you didn't know you wanted to have, but then you have it and like, oh, I really wanted to have that. I just didn't know who could help me, right? Like I just didn't know that this could be done. Like, people think that, you know, that these things are within the purview of a few people. If you select people who are very good looking and models, and it's just not true. You know, you could have it. You could have it all. It doesn't, you know, it's not out of your reach. It's not out of your reach to have photographs that you love about yourself that you can put out there. And like I said, it's an act of self-love. You know, you love yourself. Just how, you know, it's the same thing to me. You know, you get a massage, you get your nails on, you get, you know, you show yourself that you love yourself in so many different ways. This could be one of them.
Wow. Thanks. So where do people find you? How do people find you? People
find me on the web, you mean?
Yeah, like somebody wants to work with you, look you up.
Oh, right. It's Fight for Your Rights. Fight, WWWFIGHT. Fight for FORURRIGHT. Why? Because Fight for Your Rights with a Y was too expensive.
Practical decisions. Right,
it was $25,000 more, and you know what? Not worth it. I'd rather take some photographs of myself with that money.
All right. Thanks for that. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording now.